What's up, everybody? It's Wes, Hank, and Andy. We are back. It's part 12 of our Road to Ahsoka review series as we look back on the essential Ahsoka Tano episodes, the playlist over on Disney Plus. This is our what?
This is the last stop on the Disney Plus Essentials.
I was going to say this is our how many weeks now?
12 weeks.
This is it is. It's our 12th part 12. Yes, it's our 12th week.
Lucky 13 by the time we're done with it.
Oh my gosh. This week has been exciting on the lead up to Ahsoka for a number of reasons, most of them being TV spots.
Little snippets of extra.
This is what I mean. Like just yesterday, there was a leaked TV spot that, spoiler, if you haven't seen it, it's out now. Disney has released it. There's a new TV spot with Hayden Christensen speaking to, Anakin Skywalker speaking to Ahsoka Tano, and it sounds like it's almost like a redux on the training sequence from Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, that's the general consensus around here too.
Yeah.
Nice. I have yet to see it.
Well, I'm gonna chuck a little spoiler at you here.
Okay. Anakin's in it?
No. His voice is in it.
Uh-oh.
There's a line dialogue too. There's a line from Baylan Skoll. We've already seen Baylan have this conversation, parts of this conversation with Ahsoka inside the navigational array at the henge.
Highly of you.
Right. Anakin spoke highly of you.
Yeah.
Well, part of that, I presume it's part of the same conversation. He says everyone in the order knew Anakin Skywalker. Few lived to see what he became. Does Baylan Skoll know the implication that he knows that what Anakin was Darth Vader? Ooh.
Yeah. So there's a few things that could mean. Like
suddenly that character becomes even more interesting.
So in the novels, like the modern Timothy Zahn,
the Zahn novel. Yeah.
Thrawn knows. Thrawn sleuths it out. Like he spent time, like they don't show it in the Clone Wars, but he spent time with Anakin Skywalker.
That's right, yeah.
And he spent time with Darth Vader, intimately with Darth Vader.
It makes you wonder.
He figures it out. So that gives me like, that's like, is Baylan, what's his proximity to Thrawn? Because I think that's likely where he would have got that information.
Like it was, the delivery though suggests that there's maybe, in my mind, it feels more intimate than that. With the inclusion of that, of Marok, the Inquisitor, suddenly I'm like, did some of the other Inquisitorius survive, make it past the rebellion, and drop the Inquisitor armor and just go it as mercenaries? I know that is also a prevailing theory that Shin and Baylan are forced using mercenaries of some kind.
Yeah, swords for hire.
Yeah. So that's been sort of. Go ahead, Hank.
Does it feel like it waters it down a bit to you? The mystery of Anakin Skywalker, if Reva knows him, if Baylan Skoll knows him, if everybody knows.
No, because again, though, it's like, yeah, exactly, Andy. We're talking about a fraction of a percent.
Right.
But really, when we're talking about who really knows this stuff, as the audience, sure, yeah, because we only focus on where the action is, but no.
In the big scheme of things,
doesn't bother me one bit.
Right.
Can I take a quick second?
Yeah.
I got some new reveals.
Ooh. What you got?
I'm going to start with this one. As you all know, I was a huge fan of Andor. And so I've been sort of picking up most of the folks of the figures from the Andor wave. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time yesterday, and I managed to get Vel.
Nice.
Ooh.
Vel, who I haven't even seen on the shelves before yesterday.
I haven't. I neglected to get her or Talia in the Imperial garb in lieu of short round last time I was out.
Oh, decisions.
Tough, that is fair. So
all these at GameStop?
So yeah, the three that I picked up yesterday were
Our local GameStop.
no. I was in another city, so that'll get added to the rest of the wave, which includes
Nice.
Bix, who a friend of mine picked that up. These were picked up for me by a good friend of mine, Andrew Thomas. A shout out to Andrew. Also got
finally, eh? That's a nice figure in hand, bud. Wow, yeah.
As well as Mothma. There she is, Mon.
Nice. Aging backwards.
Backwards. That's right.
How you doing?
And of course, we've got this will be my default Luke Skywalker. The Lukes are flying so fast and furious that it seems like every time you get one, there's another one that has either another.
Have you seen the 2-pack?
With the Grogu,
the leaping Grogu, etc.
Right.
I was tempted because he's got a different gi on. He's got like, but
I feel like that's the same.
It's
pouch.
$70.
That's a no for me.
It's crazy. That's actually highway robbery.
And now, as we are about to head into Ahsoka, I feel like it's inappropriate to show. It is appropriate to show this one off because we're going to see these guys again. It's the HK-87.
Oh, that's a nice grab. I have not seen that
HK-87 droid. Yeah. And then I just put it down. Oh my gosh, what did I do?
I don't know.
Oh yes. Okay. Speaking of who knows what, the little what year was it? What year was that? Greatest reveal in Star Wars history. Had to be
Empire?
Well, no. As a cinema goer, maybe. I'm thinking more along the lines of sitting there with the Xbox control in my hand and having that like and having to put the control down when I discovered that no, in fact, your player character is Revan, the Sith Lord.
Yes, that was pretty cool.
I have been highly anticipating these figures. Now I have both the Sith and the Jedi version of Revan, but it wouldn't be the same without Revan's apprentice, Darth Malak.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
crazy looking figure.
And then, of course, hero, villain, hero of her own story. I don't know, villain of her own story. Depends on how you take it.
Story.
The woman who wipes your memory in that game, Bastila Shan. I was so highly anticipating these ones. I'm so glad that they were out.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, eventually when I get my house put back together, I'm going to open this stuff and get it on the shelf.
I should have brought mine over. I picked up one this week too.
What'd you get?
I got the Halloween edition Wookiee.
Oh, nice.
I did. Oh, yeah. Is that the glow in the dark one?
Yeah, it was on Amazon for $17. So I was like, you know what?
I was looking. With that. I was looking for the Halloween edition Clone Trooper because there's nothing on it that would delay it like being a weird paint job on a regular Clone Trooper. Unlike the Christmas stuff, you know what I mean? The Halloween stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah,
he's got a glowing skeleton on his armor.
Nothing new here in the sense of like this isn't like radically different, but if you're looking for a different portrait for your Wookiee,
oh yeah,
the Return of the Jedi carded Chewie isn't a bad choice. Wouldn't be the same if you took that chain off. You kind of got to leave that on there, but I thought, that's a nice portrait. I like it better. I like it better than the original, the orange box version, which is the one I've held on to forever.
I have heard that it's a fixed chain that you have to remove the head if you want to remove the chain.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to attempt to. I would just leave it on.
Yeah, that's what I saw in the review.
Yeah, and that's that. But man,
good pickup.
I am so excited for the next couple of weeks. I'm actually glad that we have a bit of a breathing room next week where we can just kind of, like have tea as we talk about the other cool episodes. Well,
I'm going crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like every other day, stuff's getting dropped, and it is so hard to keep up with the deluge of who's saying what, where is it coming from, what's the source. My mind is just over what might be, what could be, what will be.
Did you see that the Bad Batch trailer season 3 leaked?
Well, see, no, I didn't, but that's
I didn't
that's
see
what
that
I'm
either.
talking
So
about.
I'm expecting that in like a high res soon, because
Yeah.
if it's out there, they don't want crap floating around. They want the high res.
Well, that
True.
Ahsoka thing with Anakin was less than 24 hours,
Right.
And,
And
Disney dropped it.
I threw that Acolyte trailer in the chat.
Not gonna lie,
I didn't watch it.
I did, and damn,
Yeah.
oh, I did.
Yeah.
The last
know.
scene.
I know. It's like Geonosis.
Yeah.
I did watch the Bad Batch one though.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
And
I got to check that.
oh,
I want the
Yeah.
high res now.
okay. Is my boy gonna make it?
You know what? I don't know.
Okay, so
But
did they
it does
really
look
leave
like
that
Wrecker's gonna get to blow some more stuff up.
Wrecker. Everybody likes a good wrecking from Wrecker.
First
Oh,
comment coming in here.
TJC on YouTube. Evening, fine gentlemen. I hope you all are well.
Mm.
So far, so good.
Other than my personal life, which is upside down sometimes, no, everything is great here at the house. Other than the anybody who's ever renovated a building anywhere for themselves can appreciate what I mean when I say things are upside down here. But hey, I get to hang out with these guys on Sunday nights, and that just makes everything a whole lot better.
Well, at least you're not hanging through the floor like Tom Hanks.
Oh,
in Money
that's
Pit.
true. That's true. And I get to hang out with all of you guys sitting and watching the show tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us again. Before we get to the episode review tonight,
Should we let him out of the
well,
box?
let's just.
Good
Oh, you
guy.
know what? Maybe I should. Where's that key? Oh, there it is. Here we go. Let's try it again. Here we go. Bad Star Wars jokes. Whew. What do you got, Andy?
This one's coming from Hank.
Whoa.
Why can't Jedi send
Ah.
pictures or documents with their emails?
Nice.
I know the answer to this one because it's
It's part of the Jedi lore.
it's a little on the nose, but still funny.
It is.
Mhm. Give it to them.
Because attachments are forbidden.
Attachments are forbidden.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
Gotta
Oh,
send it like a
wow.
PDF.
Hey, it's a PowerCon in Ohio this weekend. Anybody following what's going on over there?
No.
Not saying I did.
No, me neither. I
What
did
with
some,
the energy weapons in Maui?
I was speaking with a friend of the show, Adam from Go Figure, and we were talking about sort of the convention, and I had asked him if Mattel had a presence at the convention because I knew that they had in the past.
Yeah.
PowerCon is an all fandom convention, but let's be real about it. It's a He-Man convention.
I did see one thing come out of there on a Facebook post. Nothing
sure.
official,
Yeah.
but we'll talk about that Tuesday because it's some toy related news.
Mattel has no presence there this year. Apparently, they have withdrawn their support.
Oh no. That for a He-Man convention?
Well, I don't know what the circumstances are surrounding that. I just know that last year, I guess they didn't. 2022, they either was their last year or they had not been there since 2021, but they definitely are not there this year.
Wow.
Not to say that there isn't a lot of there's not a lot of cool reveals coming out of the convention, because there are a few. There are also some things that make you go, what? But I'll save that one for Tuesday. All right, what are we doing tonight, everybody? We are
Should we dive in here?
we're going to talk about wow, this is the last live action episode.
Yep.
Oh man,
Up
Book of
to
Boba
date.
Fett.
Yep. Book of Boba Fett, episode 6 of season 1. It's called Chapter 6, From the Desert Comes a Stranger. Directed by Dave Filoni, written by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. It originally aired February 2nd, 2022, which seems like crazy long ago.
It does. It feels like it was a
considering
long
when
time
we reviewed
ago.
it, but
Yeah.
the synopsis reads: mysteries are explored, and Boba Fett learns new information. So this time we open the episode on Tatooine, and we get a brief confrontation between Cobb Vanth and 4 members of the Pike Syndicate. It lasts only a couple minutes, with Vance dispatching 3 of the Pikes and letting the 4th leave with a message for them, refraining from running spice through Mos Pelgo. Otherwise, they'll end up dead. We then get our title card, and we cut and shift gears, and Mando is coming out of hyperspace on approach to a forested planet of Ossus, I think it is. He approaches the signal, which turns out to be coming from R2-D2. And he lands and tells the droid he's looking for Skywalker, and he came to see Grogu. But R2 just kind of beeps and boops and then turns and leads Mando forward. As they enter a clearing, they spot dozens of androids constructing a stone structure, and Mando asks R2, "Is this where they are?" But he doesn't answer. He simply beeps and boops to the android and then goes into shutdown mode. And Mando is like, "Come on, don't go to sleep. I need info." And then trying to get some info, he questions the androids, but they simply build a bench and then continue on building the structure. Mando calls out if there's anyone living, but he gets no response. So he takes a seat on the newly constructed bench and waits.
I remember watching this episode the first time around and thinking about how excited I was to see Luke's temple getting constructed and recognizing it for what it is, that it's the temple that we see basically blown apart.
Yeah.
Burning. Yeah.
But similar construction to all the stuff we saw in the sequel trilogy, right?
Yeah. Now, rewatching it this time around, I am extra hopeful that we will get that Ahsoka Luke interaction.
Maybe.
I hope so. I hope so.
I hope so too. But
for both characters, I think both characters could get. I mean, we've all seen the meme, where they kind of
he says,
they share that.
You were
moment.
right. There's good still in him.
There's a lot of healing for both of those characters to have a conversation that might look like that.
Yeah. But here we cut away to elsewhere on the planet, and we find Luke Skywalker sitting with Grogu in quiet meditation. The child's concentration is broken by a passing frog, which Grogu uses the Force then in order to pull it closer, trying to secure himself a snack. And he almost scores his meal before Luke catches him in the act, and citing the child's shame, instead of admonishing Grogu, Luke closes his eyes and with the Force levitates all the frogs in the pond, much to the amazement of Grogu. And with the demonstration concluded, Luke suggests they go for a walk. On their walk, Luke tells Grogu of Yoda and how he told Luke that size matters not. And he continues that Yoda spoke like that, often in riddles. And he asks Grogu if he ever heard anyone talk like that back home. But Grogu looks puzzled. He asks Grogu if he remembers home. And Grogu again just looks at the ground, kind of forlorn. And Luke then asks, "Do you want to remember?" And laying his hand upon his head, Grogu begins to remember the night of Order 66 when the 501st participated in the slaughter of all the Jedi Temple. When he awakens, he finds himself next to a pond with Luke. And Luke tells him that the universe is a dangerous place, but he'll train him to defend himself. We got another comment coming in here.
Jimmy Rizzo on YouTube. Hi, my name's Jimmy. I'm never one-sided like this. I'm not even sure what that means.
I'm kind of dominating the conversation.
Nice to have you along, Jimmy. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, and now it looks like it's just a bunch of spam from Jimmy. So great. Yeah, hi, sir. Yeah, I'm real. Okay, I believe you are. I absolutely believe you are.
Hi, back.
But back at the construction site, Mando, it's been a while, so he's laying down for a rest. And with a snap of a twig, he snaps to attention, blaster in hand. But it's Ahsoka Tano. And, 14 minutes into the episode,
14 minutes in.
But better than not at all.
The road forked.
Yeah, it did.
Right.
But Mando sits up and mentions that he didn't expect to see her here. But she tells him that she's an old friend of the family. And Mando sits up and poses that he thought she wasn't going to train Grogu. And she tells him she's not. Master Luke is. He then questions what she's doing there, but she responds that that is her question to him. And he tells her, well, he's here to see the kid. And she responds with, well, that's why R2 brought you to me instead. Mando questions, what is this place? And Ahsoka tells him, right now it's nothing, but someday it might be a great school, and Grogu will be its first student.
Well,
In
we
theory.
know that's not true.
Well, we'd hope, maybe.
From a certain point of view.
But Mando continues that he'd like to know how he's doing. And Ahsoka tells him Grogu is doing fine. Mando tells her that he wants to see him, and Ahsoka kind of sighs and responds that she knows he does. And she suggests that they take a walk and leads him into the forest. Mando gives R2 a little bit of a glance, and then he follows her in. And I don't know. Honestly, I'm not a fan of my own voice. So, but I'm on show note duty this week. So sorry, Jimmy.
Well, for Jimmy's benefit, because I feel Jimmy's just joining us now for the first time. As I said before, we are optimistically looking forward to the new streaming series coming from Disney Plus later this month. It's the Ahsoka Tano show. It is one of the Star Wars spinoffs. And as we've been getting ready for that, we've been revisiting sort of the essential episodes that this character appears in. There is a playlist on Disney Plus that has all of those episodes, including the episode that we are currently looking at tonight, which is from the Book of Boba Fett. Now, normally what we do is we break up the writing duties to recap the episode, and we kind of spread that around. Tonight, Andy has been gracious enough to take on the writing duties, and so it is part of our it's part of our format. We do recount the plot of the episode.
Yeah, and if you tuned in next week, you would see a very different sort of
very much so
format and style, and you'll hear me talking a lot more. That's just the way it works.
Jimmy says, can you post a StreamYard? Well, we do use StreamYard as our live streaming platform. We do post it over to our YouTube channel. It's also on our Facebook group. It's on our Facebook page, as well as whatever Twitter is called now. So I'm not sure. Yeah. And as for having other real people on, we do have guests on from time to time. Typically not on a Sunday night when we're talking Star Wars, but on our Tuesday night show. Plug for Tuesday nights when we talk random fandom. That's a call-in show where we
call us right there.
We take phone calls, we talk
about whatever fandom you love.
Absolutely. So we do have special guests on from time to time, but typically not on these ones.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we wouldn't in the future if it was appropriate. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, back to the flow.
The Ahsoka.
Let me hear that voice.
What little there is in this episode, but Ahsoka sighs and responds that she knows he does, and she suggests they take a walk as she leads him into the forest. Mando gives R2 a glance and then follows her in. She tells him that she warned him when they met that Mando's attachment to Grogu would be difficult to let go of. And Mando tells her that as a Mandalorian foundling, he just wants to make sure Grogu is safe. But Ahsoka counters that here with Luke is the safest place in the galaxy. He then asks why she's okay with Luke's choice to train the child when she would not. And she stops and turns and tells Mando because it was his choice and she doesn't control the wants of others. Mando tells her, well, then it's his choice to go see the kid. And she replies, of course, if that is what you wish. And she places her hand behind her back and faces the direction they were walking. And up on the hill, they spot Luke and Grogu under a tree. And Mando shrugs and says, all right, beginning striding forward. And Ahsoka asks, are you doing this for Grogu or for yourself? But Mando, he stops and pulls out a little bundle containing the Beskar chainmail and tells her he just wants to give it to Grogu. She then asks, why? So he will remember you? But Mando responds, no. As a Mandalorian foundling, he should have this. It's his right. Ahsoka repeats, foundling, but then poses the question that perhaps Grogu is a Padawan now. And Mando, he pauses for a moment and then says, well, either way, this armor will protect him. Ahsoka then tells him, if he's set on it, at least let her deliver it. And with a hint of sadness in his voice, Mando responds, but I've come all this way, and he's right there. Ahsoka moves closer and laying her hands on Mando's shoulder, she tells him that Grogu misses him a great deal. But if he sees Mando, it will only make things more difficult for him. And Mando looks towards Luke and Grogu, pausing and considering, before turning and handing the bundle to Ahsoka, telling her make sure she's protected. Mando turns and heads back to his ship, leaving Ahsoka with the bundle in the forest.
She's real mastery, eh?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm sure we're going to see her explore her past coming up. We're going to see her delve into her trauma and stuff, especially after what Rosario Dawson says in that little 30-second snippet she released. Like, it really makes me feel like that. But she seems to have her crap together here with respect to the way she's, allowing Luke to train Grogu is just the same thing as training him yourself. Like, she's finding that place in herself where making the Jedi proliferate is got to be, like that. And so we're going to get there when we see her training Sabine. It's just it's interesting to watch her be mastery after having studied her being a student for so long.
I find it interesting, especially in the dialogue, that she defers to Luke as a master in the sense that, I mean, she's more skilled and has more formal training than he would ever have.
Yeah.
Right.
And yet she still defers to his mastery. So, I mean, is that
it could be semantics, but she could still be like not considering herself a Jedi, like the title of the last episode is probably for us, the audience,
right? And
also it's like how the magistrate and her troops view her. She's this Ronin Jedi. She's being like, she's the bounty on her would be because she's a Jedi, etc.
Right.
But we've never had her, except for the last time she lays it out, which is I am no Jedi. We've never heard her refer to herself as a Jedi before.
No.
Yeah. Because like even when Morgan Elsbeth is at the top of the helm there, and she's like, "Come forth, Jedi, reveal yourself." She doesn't, correct her or anything.
No,
that's true as well.
No qualifying at all. Yeah.
No. Which sounds a whole lot better than "Come forward, Force user."
Come on out, you Force wielding maniac.
That's right.
But as Mando departs, Ahsoka reflects on the little bundle before turning and heading up the mountain. And meanwhile, Grogu and Luke have moved off to the top of the mountain, and Grogu takes notice of Mando's ship lifting off. He reaches out towards the departing Mandalorian, but Luke tells him it's time to continue his training. And Luke tries to get Grogu to jump, but he's only getting a couple inches off the ground. And Luke instead loads him into the backpack and shows him some of the training imparted to him from Yoda.
Yeah, it looks very similar.
Yeah. They end up overlooking the valley where Luke tells him that the wide world exists in balance and he must feel the Force all around him. And through the Force, he will find balance as well. Later, Grogu practices his balance on a log over the water with encouragement from Luke. And as he improves, we catch up later and he's balancing on a bamboo shoot. And Luke ignites his lightsaber and moves through some of the saber movements. And we see the light reflecting in Grogu's eyes. And later still, Luke introduces a training remote into the mix to test Grogu's reflexes. Yeah. The first shot knocks Grogu down, but Luke tells him, "Get up. Always get up." And with the second shot, Grogu leaps clear of the Force. And soon he's leaping rock to rock, dodging the training remote's blasts. And on shore, Ahsoka joins Luke and gives a smile. Grogu continues to flip and dodge before turning to face towards the training remote and reaching out with the Force. He disrupts the device, causing it to fall in the water. And looking to shore, Luke tells Grogu, "Good." And Ahsoka cites that he's taught him well, but Luke tells her it's more like he's remembering rather than being taught anything. And Ahsoka counters that sometimes the student guides the master. Luke notes that the Mandalorian had been there, and Ahsoka responds, "As I told you, the two share a strong bond. And he brought him a gift." And she passes the little bundle to Luke. He pauses on the bundle a moment before they look to Grogu, and he postures that sometimes he wonders if Grogu's heart is in it. And at this, Ahsoka looks to Luke and notes, "So much like your father."
Well, maybe that conversation's already happened, and it just we weren't privy to it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get the impression that this is the first time.
No,
like she just arrived here and that they've just met. Like, it looks like
she's been here a little while.
The last 9 years they've been, I mean, and of course they would, because if she's still active at the Battle of Endor, which presumably she is, there's no reason for her to hide any longer
once that's over,
right? Or even when it's penultimate, when you're amassing the entire Rebel fleet at Endor,
right?
She's got to be there somewhere, you would think.
presumably, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, she could have been off on the singularly bent on the Thrawn mission, and therefore not present. But
all that being said, I would still, take it in a flashback. I would eat that up.
Oh,
I
hell
would
yeah.
so eat that up.
Like, even if it's just her on the Ghost with Hera and the rest of them at the Battle of Endor.
Imagine it.
There's so many ways we can do this media. Like, we got some really cool Luke Skywalker stuff in the Battlefront 2 first-person campaign, right?
Yep,
like, there's so many ways we could do it in a comic or a novel or a video game.
I'm trying to imagine
5 years of them being like having this relationship.
Imagining this bookended, having this conversation with Luke, and it's bookended with Ahsoka meeting Force Ghost Anakin, and they're sort of like counterpoint to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That might be interesting.
Yeah. But this next scene here kind of makes me wonder. Looking back towards Grogu, who is now lying down on the rock, tired from his training, Luke asks what he should do about Grogu, and Ahsoka looks at Luke and tells him, "Trust your instincts." She then turns to exit, and Luke asks her if he'll see her again, and she stops and turns back and says, "Perhaps." Then, laying her hand across her chest with a slight bow, she offers, "May the Force be with you," before turning and disappearing into the forest, leaving Luke to ponder his next move.
Perhaps if they write me back.
Yeah. But this is the last time we see live Ahsoka until we're going to get that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That literally is her last appearance.
They lengthened her Liku here, from the
Jedi episode, the Mandalorian episode. Yeah.
Slowly.
Have they lengthened them here? Like,
yeah, it's
or are they longer in
thicker
in the media?
I think they're even longer in the media. Again, I think
the stuff that we're seeing for the new series.
Watching some of the what I deem the essential episodes, like there's an episode where Anakin and Ahsoka pose as slaves and slave master to crack a slave ring, and they're all Torgruta, and some of them their leak almost touch their feet.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars style animation.
We've seen some of the fan art drawn that way. Well, there you go.
Right. So, wonder if there's like a little bit of reptilian DNA where, like, they could get cut and still regrow. Maybe,
possibly. I don't know.
I mean, it's probably a thing. It's some sort of like organic, like it's something akin to hair or fingernails, I would assume.
Yeah,
I often thought of them as like and maybe this is because maybe I'm pulling from the role playing game, but as like a sensory organ. Like in Star Trek, if you cut an Andorian's antenna off, they're like, they're all like dizzy and stuff.
Right.
I always thought it was part of their like an extra sensory organ, not unlike, I can't think of the term. It's not sight. It's not sound. It like it picks up like vibrations or something.
Sonar.
And I could just be making. Well, echolocation would require emitting a sound.
Yeah, right.
So I could be pulling this out of my butt, but I feel like it's part of an extra sensory thing for them.
Fair enough.
Not that that's really been explored anywhere else but the role.
My ESB tales.
Yeah.
But like I said to you guys in the chat, rather than continue on with this episode, seeing as we covered it in depth with the Book of Boba fandom review series,
which wasn't that long ago.
No, so you can still go back and check that out in our back catalog.
Absolutely.
But I'd like now to turn over to some live action and animated comparisons.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
But, before that, there is one other notable thing this episode.
Sure.
Rest in peace,
Garza. Yeah. I had forgotten about that until I started rewatching it, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Now,
it does not end well for her.
She looks like she has some extra sensory organs.
Well, she's Twi'lek, right? So aren't those things
the Leku, the head tails?
Oh yeah, the Leku. Yeah. That's what I was talking about.
There you go. But let's go back to Ahsoka here, and posture-wise, she's got it nailed.
Well, absolutely. And I think people, Hank, you talked about this before, people that were sort of complaining about sort of the mannerisms and the body language.
A whole post on why is she always crossing her arms, and then I saw
that's her thing, man.
There was a response of nothing but Ahsoka with her arms crossed from the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Thing.
That's her thing.
And then we continue on like her interactions with droids, because we know she like gives droids proper respect.
Oh yeah.
when
Yeah.
others don't.
Yeah. No, that's great.
The smile, totally
Yeah.
nails it.
That's a hard thing to do. I mean, smile like this cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she does. She's doing it fine as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
But in the gallery episode, when they touched on this, Dave Filoni was keen to impress on Rosario the meaning behind like the showdown piece of the duel before it happens.
Right.
Going back to the Kurosawa films, which reflected in many of her animated duels.
Oh yeah, of course.
And we saw this repeatedly in animation, mirroring that classic films like, Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
Carrying it forward like into her duels with, Maul in the Clone Wars, Vader in Rebels, and again with Morgan Elsbeth.
That crafty witch person that might be.
Yeah, but like, Filoni's a fan of all this stuff, so it's totally influenced him.
Yeah, man. The guy is he's a student, and he's trained by the master.
Yeah. Her opening fight stance is right on point.
Oh, so it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Her proficiency with just her Shoto saber, as we saw in the Clone Wars when she was disarmed by Maul.
Yeah.
And again, same idea with Morgan Elsbeth. She's just as good with one as she is with both. And then igniting the blade in the front, really similar to what she did in Twilight of the Apprentice Part 2.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. And then mid-fight stance, again, same as you saw in Clone Wars season 7 episode.
Yeah, because that's
11.
Rex in the med pod. Right?
Yeah. And she's taking up the stance like
defensive,
ready to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So we're just like 2 short weeks away here from
10 days.
Yeah. Not even 2 weeks.
My gosh, it's blink and you'll miss it, but we are almost there. I am still, man, I'm excited, and I'm almost a little bit nervous because of how much they're giving us. And I know that we've gotten double drops for premiere episodes before, but
this doesn't feel like it's going to be whereas Andor, you needed those first 3 to get
into I don't feel like we're getting
pacing.
I don't feel like we're getting a prologue.
No.
If
anything, you're getting a prologue to Rebels.
Yeah, really.
But you might not be, right? Like, depending where it falls in the timeline.
Right. And I mean, the public answer is right around the same time as season 3 of The Mandalorian. But with Anakin coming back and having his voice, like, that really sounds like a flashback to me.
He's talking about droids. He specifically says you won't always be fighting droids.
Won't be fighting droids, right? So it definitely lends itself to Clone Wars.
Can we talk a minute about that 30-second Ahsoka in 30 seconds clip that Rosario?
She's very good on that
for release. Yeah, reading fast. There's a line I can't remember. I wrote it down in the chat, but it's I'll paraphrase it, and it's basically when we catch up with Ahsoka on our show, we're going to be dealing with how she deals with her past and tries to prevent the comeback of a fearsome enemy, meaning Thrawn. And that changes like what we've been sort of like, oh, Thrawn's back, she's going to fight him like the Empire, etc. And it's a subtle but big difference, preventing Thrawn from returning, which really
just return to power. Because
he's in the unknown regions, and I would think returning to power would be the same thing as returning physically to this part of the galaxy. With all that armada or what have you. And so perhaps because we know we're heading towards this big movie, and that would be if Thrawn were to like Thanos style appear in that movie while we just dangle threads until then. I know we've seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean they're going to cross paths in this series. Like he can be still over wherever.
We could get nothing but an Ezra Bridger hologram and have to actually cast an actor.
Can you imagine that what we saw in that trailer is all we're getting? And that crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And I suggested that Ezra Bridger might be dead. That's still on the table for me.
Yeah.
I haven't abandoned that.
No, we were all assuming he could survive hyperspace leap through without a windshield, but maybe not.
If Thrawn survived, come on.
Well, that's my go-to too. Have you guys heard the rumor? And I guess maybe it's probably nothing but. So we'll all take it with a grain of salt. And I could find the source later for you.
Sure.
Put it in the chat or something. That because of Disney's shakeup and we've seen them already push movies almost 2 years in some cases.
Yep.
That season 4 of The Mandalorian may be a theatrical release now instead of.
There are other YouTubers who are talking about this as it may be. They're speaking in the same tones. This might happen. This might be. Maybe there'll be more movies set in the Mandoverse as opposed to just this.
Being a narcissist, what does that do to our review show? Because suddenly we're one episode, season 4 of The Fandalorian. We'll be breaking down the first 5 minutes today in this 2-hour episode.
They did it that way, but that also begs the question: are we going to go? And I'm sure with the way that they want to do things, that they'll all be theatrical release. They won't be.
I would hope so.
They won't be straight to streaming. So,
but the other sort of weird thing about Star Wars news is that while they've been mentioning everything they're going to be releasing real quick and sort of shuffling things a little bit, there's been nothing, dead air about Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew has almost fallen off the radar,
and it's in the box as far as I know, ready to go.
Now, is this a case of let's just hold on to it because we want to be able to promote it the way it deserves to be promoted, and we can't do that amidst the striking?
Could be. Or maybe they're holding it for May the 4th for next year.
Oh, there is that as well.
Oh, hey, surprise! Boom.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that it's like I was talking with Lauren about this. Like, okay, you're in a union and you want to show solidarity and you believe in all your rights and stuff.
Yes,
but there are parts of all three of us that if we had the opportunity to write a Star Wars movie, that it would become like an infant that we would, you know what I mean? So
yes,
when I think of Dave Filoni having to be on a picket line, and like this is something else to him than just I write for a career and therefore I'm in this union where I write for my job. Like it must be super tough for him to have to go dark while his baby is about to be born.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's got to be tough on Rosario Dawson having been fan made essentially into this role.
Well, this
at the end of the day, she has a lot less invested than I would say a Dave Filoni, who this must absolutely be killing.
Yeah. That dovetails into some of the stuff like, as an aside, that Stephen Amell was talking about, not being able to promote heels. And he said, and he was, of course, public opinion put him under the microscope for it. But he's like, I don't believe in striking. I don't think it helps anybody. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, whoa, what are you saying? He's like, listen, I said what I said, and maybe I could have articulated it better. He's like, I do support my union, but he doesn't believe in striking. Like it's not helping anybody.
No.
Then again, if they get what they want,
yes,
maybe rethink that.
Well, I mean, like historically, hasn't striking been the only recourse for the working folk?
Well, again, now, but now
the uppers won't listen to anything.
It has prompted men with sticks to retaliate.
Now, with everybody looking at AI technologies for entertainment purposes, there will come a time where whatever, go on strike. It won't stop the machine. You know what I mean? Like literally. Won't stop the machine.
And I want them to win, and I admire what they're doing. But at the end of the day, there's like these personal stories that we're just not privy to.
Yeah.
When you watch
that's
Sean
the part
Astin
I think that bothers me the most. And I said that like that's room for us in the online YouTube live streaming community. We need to be the voice of the fanfare for this stuff if the companies aren't going to.
And they would have us not be, which is disturbing to me. They would have us not talk about struck content. And I'm not in the union, man. I love you guys and I love what you do, but I'm not in the union.
I am certainly not in
Let's go.
I am not in a position to speak for any actor, any writer, but I am in a position to speak for a fan who loves Star Wars. And I am with you. I'm like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Pardon my language.
Yes, sir.
But let's go.
Well, it's like Filoni said in that gallery episode, staring at Rosario that first time for the Mandalorian episode. He's like, there's the thing I created in live action. She's here.
Yeah.
That's got to be an emotional thing for a creator.
You know what I mean? And knowing like who he studied under, and knowing that like George Lucas had no time for writers guilds or directors guilds or
that's right.
filmmaking
Yeah.
traditionally, like that's got to be, you know what I mean? You have all that instinct, but you're working underneath the devil.
the whole I want to make what I want to make the way that I want to make it, and I don't want anybody telling me how to do it. So I'm just going to quit the Directors Guild.
Yeah,
and that's what he did. He just quit. I quit.
Empire Strikes Back was the biggest independent film of all time.
Yeah, really. Eh? Wow, it feels like, man, the whole getting here. It was a long haul, but here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, 12 weeks later, and I'm looking at the camera and I'm looking at you guys, and I'm like, didn't we just start this yesterday?
Kind of feels like it.
Yeah, and it always does. It always does.
Yeah.
But we're not done yet. We're not.
One more.
We got one more.
Yeah, Baker's dozen coming up.
We have Hank. You have the list. I've seen it.
Yeah,
I have seen
it. A social media post if you like. Go ahead. Let everybody know what they've got a week to watch.
Yeah, really. Here you go, guys. Watch all of this.
It'll totally be worth it.
Because I found 25 more episodes that they didn't talk about, plus the movie.
That's right, 25.
And
but that being said, we're going to talk about them.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about them next week. Obviously, we won't be able to dive in on them in the same way that we've been doing this week after week, but we would like to give some breathing room to all of these other episodes, and hopefully that inspires you guys to go back and revisit some of this stuff in the meantime, or concurrently as you're watching Ahsoka with us. And hope you do watch the show week in and week out every Wednesday when it comes out. Because hell or high water, we'll be here every Sunday night grinding it out with what's been going on as we do in that unique way that we do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we...
I'm all out.
No, it's all right.
I mean, it was a short one.
We ran short tonight, so I just thought, hey, anybody wants to talk about anything? This is a great time to do that, and including any of you guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to talk about? What are you guys looking forward to?
Well, definitely that Acolyte trailer was. You got to go check it out as soon as we go off the air.
I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping that there will be a high res.
It's one of the, we're back to watching like 3/4 angle on a screen with people screaming in the front. But
I do feel like some of that was shown at Celebration.
Maybe
pieces of it,
or stills were shown at Celebration, because that final sequence, definitely I've seen a written description of that somewhere. Whether it was somebody who attended.
There is always the risk that some of these can be faked, because I've been tricked. There's been a few good things where I've gone, wait a minute, that's footage. And I mean, at first when I saw footage from Revenge of the Sith and footage from Obi-Wan Kenobi in the latest trailer, I thought, okay, fake.
Well, even just this week, we were talking about the because you had mentioned that I can't remember the name of the studio. Game studios developing a new Ninja Turtle game based on The Last Ronin. And I'm like,
trailer, but a lot of the footage from the gameplay was not gameplay. It was
I'm like, wait, this looks like the fan thing that I just watched. So sent that back and okay. But they did the trailer that they did put the actual trailer that came out yesterday. It's all just sort of like clip art.
Yeah.
That being said, if you're a fan of The Last Ronin, there is a pretty cool 3-5 minute fan film. It's very cool.
Wasn't bad.
Yeah. Oh, you watched?
I did watch it.
Okay, good.
I'm a fan of turtles, so
I'm not a huge turtle fan, but even I am like
they don't even give it away in the trailer, though.
No, they don't.
Twist of the end.
I was watching this because of Mutant Mayhem, and I nearly snuck out of Barbie and into Mutant Mayhem last night.
Oh, that's out too, isn't it?
I didn't. But because of that, there's been a lot of like YouTubers and TikTok people talking about TMNT. And one thing was like, we love it because it's so accessible. It's light. It's not violent. And I was like, have you ever read
Where have you guys been?
Comics? What are you talking about? It is not I love the 90s cartoon. I love it.
Sure.
But it's the actual stuff is so much darker and more twisted.
and definitely the Last Ronin.
Very dark. Yeah, that's some good. That's the dark night of the
of Turtles.
Turtles,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, absolutely.
That is some seriously good
absolutely.
writing.
Well, listen, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us for our condensed episode tonight. Just gives us more breathing room to get ready for next week. Do keep your eyes open on our social media channels, as we'll be getting that list of other episodes that you might want to check out, and then we're gonna dive in on them next week. Come back and hang out with us on Tuesday night, where we'll be back to talk about the weirdness and wonderfulness of pop culture and entertainment. What came up this week, in light of not getting any news in our Canadian Facebook feeds.
It's kind of weird going to Facebook pages now and seeing like this access or this content's not accessible to you.
Actually, you know what I did? I was talking to my friend about that, who was not aware that was happening. And I said, oh yeah, this is happening now. And I made a point of specifically going to the CBC's Facebook page, search CBC. I clicked on the page, and just the stat block info is there. There is nothing. There is nothing there anymore.
Absolutely.
So
you see that Saturday Night Live episode today on the news? Nothing happened.
Yeah.
3 people saw it. Nothing occurred.
Andy and I had sort of rhetorically asked, was it only going to be Canadian media outlets? No, it's
also American media outlets.
It's all. So some things are still squeaking through. So like all of your all the weird ones that you kind of got to look at with a microscope, like your Cinema Blends and the CBRs, those are still kind of trickling through here.
I find that a lot of pop culture and film and music stuff is still coming through, but
that's more entertainment than news.
It is more, but it's. I don't want to get conspiracy on live TV, but they don't want it, man. It's just that's the stuff they want you to see, and that's what you want to see. Yeah. They have the people normally dancing like that, but then it's very Orwellian.
Oh,
and the weirdest thing is that they're blaming one another. The Canadian government is saying this is being done by Meta, and Meta is saying no, it's the Canadian government, and
when really it's the media.
it's the lobbyists, right? The lobbyists are pushing, and that's sort of.
Going back to knowing what I know, working in that industry for so long, like it was free for so long, and you can't run a free business model forever.
No, you can't.
At some point, you have to put up a wall and say, "Please pay me for my services."
But in print media, that was always the people taking out the ads.
Yeah,
all the ads are now digital,
and the ads cost ridiculous.
If you do it properly, nobody had a problem with paying $1.25 for the Toronto Star. Not a single person that wanted to read the paper. Problem with that. And if you did it properly, you could certainly monetize news like that.
Yeah.
But the way it's a Netflix subscription for like the Wall Street Journal, which is ridiculous.
I feel like that is probably what spoiled the whole idea, is that now digital services like that have given us this sense of what content is worth. Yeah. I can watch an unlimited amount of television for $16.99 a month.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that for a newspaper.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
That's very true.
And not when you still have your satellite feeds,
right.
CTV and CNN. And
but I will say, especially I'm not paying exorbitant rates when I look at the editing.
Yeah.
That's in like a CBC written article, and there's grammatical errors, and there's no editing going on at all. Like there is no like sort of higher form of media that I can find.
Yeah.
It's like live tweets and live Instagrams or where like real news seems to be happening.
Yeah. So, I mean, full disclaimer, and this for our audience, like, we love to talk about this stuff, but like, make no mistake, we are here specifically for your entertainment. We get such a thrill out of doing this, and we hope you guys come along and enjoy the ride. Like, sorry,
we're not here to be accurate.
I was reading an article the other night, and this was they were talking about that spoilery ending at the end of Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, and they were looking at, hey, let's cast a modern G.I. Joe team. And as they were going through their list of people, they landed on Karen Gillan for Scarlet. And the author of the article said, and she's best known for her ongoing role as Gamora in the MCU. And so I'm like, well, that That's not
Somebody didn't
correct.
fact check.
There's no vetting. And
well, this is what I mean. And so, and then in the same article, they referred to, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the character Joe Colton.
yeah,
It's the character that Bruce Willis ended up playing in the Rise of Cobra.
Okay.
Joe Colton is the original G.I. Joe.
Hmm.
Well, not only did they in the heading for this character's name, but in the subtext they kept referring to him as Joe Cotton. And I don't know if that's just a case of auto-correcting Colton to Cotton,
right.
but like
Once and then
when it's 3 or 4 times,
But
it's
not
just
having
like,
a job, like not having a person in the job of editor to like, I don't think anything is going to destroy the literacy of modern society quicker than us just accepting grammatical errors, accepting spelling mistakes. There's a reason for those rules. I'm not even trying to be a jerk or a hardliner, but
no, absolutely not.
Like
I can do that for all of us.
Yeah.
Because I don't speak in acronyms. I still speak in full sentences. I mean, sending a text message on a flip phone was like an all-night thing for me, man.
Right.
LOL.
Right.
Oh, I missed the I'll go again.
I mean, like emojis are hieroglyphics. They're really trying to steer us backwards.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, now that we've had our little outburst, how are we feeling now, everybody?
Oh, we got comments from Ray.
Oh, Ray, sorry I was late. You're never late. You are always intentional.
That's when a wizard arrives.
That's right.
That's right.
That is right. You're here now. That's all that matters.
Yep.
Yeah, I like to give a shout out to my good buddy Jimmy.
All right. Well, that's it for me. I got nothing left. So unless you guys got something else to talk about.
No, we'll find lots to talk about on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll hang on to all the other stuff for Tuesday. We can get all fired up again. Come back as we, rip the beards off each other.
No.
All right, everybody. Listen, thanks for hanging out with us. It was a great time as always. And until next time, for Fandom Power, my name is Wes.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Hank.
And we will see you all on the next one. And bye for now.
Pew, pew.